Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of These Corona Times. You are tuned in with Dr. Simone and your girl Tiffany and your boy Brandon.
What's up, folks?
What's up?
You said like a question, Brandon.
I questioned it. I was questioning.
Did you forget my name for a second too?
No, I was considering if I was gonna say something mean about you. I didn't know if I was gonna talk about your shirt or something. I was trying to decide if I wanted to lean into the joke, but I'm gonna let you live.
You know what, Tiff? You have this same shirt. This is the your future is so bright type shirt.
It is, and it's a very bright shirt you have on. It's a very bright shirt. Your future is very bright.
It is bright.
Yes, I was just deciding how I was going to greet you, Brandon. That's why I said it like a question. That's all. That's
Clean it up now.
Yeah, that's all. But yes, welcome to episode 44. Our title, we have a working title here: Entrepreneurship
in these Corona times.
Entrepreneurship in these Corona times. It's a simple one tonight. We have a special guest with us tonight. I won't take Simone's part away, and I will not orient you at all. And
thank you.
I will just stick to my script and say thank you so much for watching, for joining us thus far for these many episodes. We appreciate. We've been having a discussion this week about, we've now added audio podcasts to our repertoire. So we've now been talking about, our loyal folks who have sat and watched many episodes. So we want to say we appreciate your time for sitting down to watch us for 44 episodes. You can catch us every Monday on Facebook at 8 o'clock or anytime thereafter, anytime you want to watch, because it's on demand. You can also watch us on YouTube at These Corona Times for both of those things. And you can also catch us on wherever podcasts are heard. We prefer Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but wherever you like listen to them, they're also out there as well. And you can listen to us under These Corona Times and check out not just this episode, but all of the 43 ones that came before it. So we got things. We got a library. Just check us out.
Shout out to Tag Media.
Yes. Shout out to Tag Media. We do have quite a list. You scroll through, and I get satisfaction seeing all of the different episodes because it just shows how consistent that we have been. So definitely want to do a quick check-in about how y'all are doing after the last episode. It was pretty heavy. We talked to Fred about police brutality and just all the things that are going on. How are y'all kind of sitting with that this past week?
It's been better for me this week. I haven't, probably because I haven't had any TV on, really. I haven't watched any local news, if at all, any world news, really. I've just been tuned out. So I think for me, taking a break, stepping away from the heavy topic is helpful. So I feel, in that way, I feel a little refreshed, not as angry this week.
Yeah. I think the same for me. It seems like we had a lot crunched into 1 week. And this past week felt like a little bit more quiet. I did lead out at work for a healing and empowerment gathering for our African-American students.
Yes.
And so that was really nice to provide some coping skills and just some normalization and validation for those students. But I felt better this past week as well. What about you, Brandon?
Same. I did the TIFF method. I was the look over there. So I did not watch a whole lot of news. And being in Kentucky this week has mostly been Derby talk. So it has been something that I've been able to kind of push to the back to kind of give myself a little bit of a reprieve. Also, the weather has been, for the most part, been pretty good as well. And so that has definitely helped. Been outside a little bit more. And so overall, I'm feeling pretty good.
Good. So that's a good segue into self-care. Into how we've taken care of ourselves this week. I just want to own that I look greasy today and just hot and just, greasy. I've been outside for hours.
One might say sweaty.
Sweaty.
Listening
that I am. But that's okay because we were walking for hours and Kaden got to ride his scooter for hours. And my hope is that he is somewhere knocked out in the house.
Maybe.
So we've been outside more. So that's been our self-care because that helps me quite a bit. So excuse the glossiness. Let's call it glossy. I like that better.
Whatever makes you feel better, friend.
What about y'all?
I know you want to go, Brandon?
I'll go because I'm doing the same thing that Simone's doing. We've been outside. Yeah, we've been outside for about 4 hours today. It's been a day. My kids, it's funny. We were at the park just walking some trails and having some fun. You know, on the way back to the car, my daughter's like, "Oh, my legs, Daddy, my legs." And you know, Josiah is starting to act up a little bit, which means I know he's about ready for bed. I know they're going to sleep really good tonight. I don't know how long they're going to sleep,
Right.
but I know the quality of their sleep is going to be great because as soon as they hit the pillow, they're going to be out because they have had a long, long, long day. We went to the park, came back to the house, we ate, they played outside in the backyard, and yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Well, I took a break from my side hustles this week. So anytime after I have signed off of my regular job, I just haven't been picking up the computer in the evening to do anything. So I just kind of took a breather. I didn't really have anything to do anyway, so I didn't abandon any of my jobs. I just didn't do any extra.
Yeah, for those of y'all that don't know, the three of us have 3 jobs, 2 to 4 jobs.
We're Jamaicans.
Hey, I love it.
When we say we taking a break from work, and it means like our second, third, or fourth job.
Right. The main job continues. The main job continues.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad that we, had a chance to kind of take care of ourselves and get away from some of the madness. So the person that we are acknowledging today is actually going to be our guest. So I have the task of reading her bio. Should I do that now or should I wait?
I was what doing now.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to highlight our friend Deon Stokes, who we're talking about entrepreneurship today, as Tiffany said. And so I'm just going to read her bio for you all, and then we'll be able to talk to her and just get some more insight about what it is she does. So Deon Stokes is a serial entrepreneur and offers more than 15 years of experience as the founder and CEO of Joint Effort, a forensic marketing agency. She's the founder and visionary of the podcast and web series, The Failure Report, co-host of the podcast Leading in Color with Marta Miranda Straub, the tech developer of Pivot, a professional wellness marketplace powered by Google, and the curator of the Ambition Planner, a daily planner for women of faith. After 13 years as a political manager and strategist, Deon retired to focus her time and attention on her purpose, which is helping women thrive. She started her career in Alabama politics, managing candidates from local government, U.S. government, and senators. Upon retirement, she focused on solving the biggest problem in business: how to start a successful business, how to grow that business, and how to make more money. Her mission is to invest in small businesses, startups, and nonprofit agencies through a straightforward and strategic methodology of providing comprehensive strategic planning, branding, and inbound marketing tactics to help companies scale. Fearless, passionate, and a professional failure are just a few words often used to describe Deon's rose-colored view of life. And so, I mean, the bio says it all. She's amazing. She's done everything. We thought, she's in our age group. Well, you have to be like 60 with all the things that she's done. But no, she's in our age bracket. So that is who we're highlighting, her amazing business and her entrepreneurship. So I'm not going to say anything more because I don't want to orient.
That's the first time in a long time that they've done this, man. I appreciate y'all actually letting me do what I do.
Notice it says light. It says light.
I got you, Tiff. I got you. I'm gonna keep it short. So we are talking entrepreneurship, and one of the reasons why we're talking about that, not just because the three of us have so many side hustles going on, but through these Corona times, a lot of focus has been on people starting different businesses and what that actually means. And we believe, let me not project. I am of the mindset that a lot of people are glorifying entrepreneurship and kind of making it what it's not. And we only see one side of it. And we hear so many people saying, quit your job, work 4 hours a day, you make $250,000 a year. And we really wanted to talk to someone who will give you the real. What are the great parts of being an entrepreneur? What are the downfalls of being an entrepreneur? Are you actually ready to be an entrepreneur? or is a 9 to 5 really where you're best suited? You know, all those type of things that we don't hear, but we only hear the good things. We never hear the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So very happy to talk to someone who knows the ins and outs and has decades of experience with that. Is that light enough, Tiff?
Look, I didn't write the notes. I just saw it there.
But she highlighted it though.
Highlighted it though.
She was being shady.
I was being shady.
Luckily, these my homies right here. That's the only people that can get away with this.
Well, yeah. So I'm excited about this conversation. I think I play at entrepreneur. I need to be where the benefits reside. So I'm not ready to like spring off and do my own thing. It sounds nice. Working for yourself sounds nice. But I know I'm not there yet. So I'd rather have these small little side hustles here and there. They get me through my ever increasing shoe habit. And not be something I have to rely on solely. So I'm excited to have Dion on because I do think, as Brandon said, there's another side to this that we don't get to see. So like having a real legitimate conversation with somebody who is a self-proclaimed failure. She said professional failure in her bio. So that's real.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So we will be right back with our special guest for the evening.
Okay. All right. So we are back with, as Tiffany says, our windows have gone from 3 to 4. We have our guest, Deon Stokes. And Dion, I just read your lovely bio. We're so thankful for you, you being here, agreeing to be here and talk with us about entrepreneurship. And that other long word that you taught us. It was a word that you taught us.
Hyphenated.
Multi-hyphenate. Yes. No, hyphenate. Not hyphenated.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
So thank you for being here. Definitely excited to talk to you about what it is that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I've known you all for some time now, and it's great to be able to get to know each other on this level because we talk about other things, just life in general, but this is always a treat. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So Dion, what is an entrepreneur / multi-hyphenate? What's the difference? Is it the same thing? Like, tell us what is your definition of what it is that you do?
Yeah. An entrepreneur is the one that assumes the risk. I mean, that's what Webster would personify you as, right? And it is truly what sums up an individual that is an entrepreneur. You are willing to be cocky enough, arrogant enough to believe that what you do and how you do it is better than anyone else. And because of that, you decide to hang a shingle and say that I'm going to open up for business and I'm going to operate. And a multi-hyphenate is a person that says, I'm not going to just do it one time. I'm going to do it over and over again in a lot of different arenas. And I never assumed that I would be that person. I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I never assumed that I would be a person that would wear multiple hats and as many hats as I do today. But the life that I have now, I couldn't imagine it any other way. Yeah.
When you said that, it struck fear in me. You said, I'm going to be bold. That scared me.
I just said that before you came on. Like, I appreciated having you because I am not, I told them I need to be where the benefits reside. I'm not ready to just hop off.
It is. It's literally the one that will assume the risk. And there's so much risk and reward that goes into entrepreneurship. And that is why I feel like that definition is just so fitting, because you have to then let that palpitation just set in and say, am I actually willing to do this? And for how long? And that's all a major part of what it means to actually step out and not have the one that needs the benefits. Like, I need to be where the benefits reside. This ain't it.
Yes. So when did being an entrepreneur transition to being this multi-hyphenate that you speak of?
Yeah, I became a multi-hyphenate unbeknownst to me, honestly. I started entrepreneurship right out of college. I worked for about 2 months at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which is really funny. I moved up really quickly while I was there, and I thought I was absolutely going to love it. And I just didn't. And I volunteered for a politician who was running for city council. No, he was running for mayor at the time, and he lost that race. And I was really actually bitten by the bug and being a strategist at that time. I graduated from Oakwood University. Then Oakwood, hey, come on now, come on. And I did public relations, and I double majored in marketing and French. And I was ready to help individuals become something else. I wanted to make politicians be great and be honest and be trustworthy. And I knew that I could help, especially specifically white males, speak to a demographic that they were having an issue tapping into. Mm-hmm. I started out as a volunteer. Again, just like I did at Enterprise, I quickly moved into a strategist role and then ended up in a managerial, being a political manager. And working in politics is temporary. It has a season. And so I would typically run 6-month sprints if I was lucky. Typically, there were 4-month sprints with each individual I worked with. So of course, on off times, I had to do something else. And so I started doing marketing and public relations for government contracts when I was still living in Huntsville. And like I said, I just kind of fell into the situation like doing, and had the honor of working over 14 years in politics with almost 11 candidates, not almost, with 11 candidates. And it's been great. I mean, it was absolutely amazing to be able to have the time to dedicate to the constituents that we served. But it also just opened my eyes to a whole other world of opportunity that was out there. And I think that is what really, working in those two worlds, owning a marketing company and then working as a political strategist during that season really opened my world into the life of it being a multi-hyphenate.
Mm-hmm. We have to put a pin in this real quick, because I think I heard you say that you wanted to worked with white men to help them with the demographic that they struggled with.
Yes.
How can I say this? We often talk about some of the problematic features, characteristics that come with whiteness sometimes. And so I'm wondering, just real quick, like what that was like for you to be in that environment. And I'm assuming a lot of stuff, but I'm just wondering like what that was like.
I can just imagine something in a meeting. Dion is hearing somebody saying blah 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 blah, and Dion is like, no, that's just not how you want to say that.
And I say, don't say that. I wish I had a name tag. I would have a name tag that would say, I hope I'm not buffering or am getting frozen. Am I okay?
No, you're good.
Good. I used to have a name tag. I wish I had a name tag that said, don't say that. Because that's all that I would say. Don't say that. Don't say that. Yeah. You're saying it wrong, or you're being condescending, or your arrogance is showing. It was just so many things that I would have to help individuals with. And that's why I feel like I hate to use the word in demand, but I was in demand because I wasn't afraid to say it. I knew how to say it in an articulate manner that helped individuals to understand. And then I helped really just pivot their strategy, because everyone, if you're a politician, you're going to have to be that person for everyone. You're going to need to be the constituent of all people. But if you don't know all people, understand them, speak their language, eat their food, or understand their problems, then you're never going to be able to serve them. And going in, most politicians want to be that. I would always work with green politicians who are like, I was a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief, and now I want to be this public servant. And becoming a public servant is more than a notion, and I would help guide them through that process and what that looked like. And it really started with a lot of conversation around what you cannot and cannot say. And it was always a lot of fun to be like, can't say that, can't say that.
I could just imagine
just buzz them.
No.
Especially in Alabama, I could just hear someone say, well, I love the blacks, and Dion is like, oh.
My big mama raised me to be part. You understand how
she nursed me on her breast.
she nursed me.
All things you should not say.
And I loved her. We were good to the blacks. We were.
Oh no!
Anytime you say the blacks, it's probably just not.
It's always bad. It's always bad.
So, Dion, I also heard you say that you retired from that role. Would you be willing to come out of retirement and help our mayor, please? Because he needs someone.
He does. When moved here to Kentucky, I walked in a little bit of Kentucky politics briefly, just because I knew all of the players. I've worked in Senate, I worked in Congress, worked in DC. I've been around, so these were my friends, or people were friends of my friends, or their assistants were my people I knew. You know what I mean? So it wasn't foreign. My word, I sit back and I look now, and it is appalling, and it's why I retired. I can't do it anymore. I just, there's a part of you that you have to give and be willing to give. And it's just a part of me that I just decided to put into retirement.
And what was it like to retire at what I'm going to assume is the ripe old age of like 27?
Right, it was. Definitely. It was not answering the phone whenever it rang, because I still get the phone calls on like, hey, we're in this bind. I need a statement. You know, this is really bizarre, but our current mayor doesn't live very far from my house. And so just to be able to see him out and walking, and us to be able to have the relationship that we have, you know, it's great. It's easy for them to say, like, can we just call you and ask you this quick question? And, you know, can you send us another W-9, W-4, which one is it? So we can send you a check so you can answer these one. And I don't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? So it really is to say, once you say it once, once you say it twice, you say it 1,000 times, I don't do it anymore. And then they stop calling you. But every once in a while, they'll get in a bind or a pickle and they're like, we need a statement. Can you help us with a statement? We don't know what to say. We don't know what to do. and if my heart pulls me, if my heart tells me to do it, I'll do it. Oftentimes here lately, I like to let them sink and swim. I mean, or sink or swim. You know, they asked me for the New York Times, Lord Jesus, the Courier Journal asked me for a statement when we were going through our riots last year, and they're like, you know, what do you feel about the riots? And I told them I thought the city should burn, and they were like, and I was like, let it burn. If you can't hear, you can feel. If you can't hear me, you can feel me. That every time you have to replace a window in your $40 million hotel, you remember the day that you should have made a different decision. And they were like, we'll retract that for you. Absolutely not. You can sign it my name.
Dion
what I said.
Yeah, right.
So that was also, you know, telltale whenever I wasn't able to hold my tongue and hold my peace. And it was time for me to retire. I had seen a lot, I know a lot, and I didn't want to do it anymore. It was no longer fun.
But that would suggest, though, Dion, that you're able, if you want to, you can say what you want because you're working for yourself. Whereas myself, I cannot, there are just certain things.
Can't say.
I can't say certain things. I like, you know what, that statement, you know, Simone Lavelle Bruce does not, what is it? Does not reflect. Her values do not reflect that
this organization.
The views of this organization. But that's the jaded part of working for yourself, is because you do represent yourself. And if this is how I want to show up and be represented, this is how I decide who I am every single day. And who I am could work for a Democrat, could work for a Republican, could work for a nonpartisan, could work and fight for policy change. But I decided that. And that was something that, again, once you've tried it and once you've been in that position, once it's hard to go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to go back.
Well, I mean, that's a very honest, we talked about this specifically. You brought this up, honesty in entrepreneurship. And we've asked you what entrepreneurship is and what it isn't. There's been a lot of images that we see that I'm just like, oh, I would love to do that, but I don't know, like, I can't do that. Like, how are you on the beach every day? How are you? And so can you talk about honesty and entrepreneurship and what that means to you? And,
so is it possible legally to only work like 2 hours a day?
Because if so, I want to know about
it. And make six figures, because I need to do that if you can do that legally.
And still be where the benefits reside. Can that?
I feel like yeah, the answer is yes or no. There's a lot of tasks that I don't like to do, and so I pay someone else to do it. And typically it's because you can do it faster than me, you can do it better than me, etc. Especially if there's an ROI attached to it, it just makes sense. That means that I don't have to work as many hours on this or learn how to do this because I don't know how to do this. I'm on TikTok. I don't know how to do TikTok. All right, y'all. I don't know how to do it. I've tried. I just can't do it. But if we want to have a presence there, I need to pay somebody that's able to do it. So legally, yeah, there is a way. Financially, it's much harder to do. It takes a lot more energy. It takes a lot of time to train someone to speak in your voice and represent you and all of those things. And then you have to always touch it. And so there's a lot of dishonesty in entrepreneurship because you know how much it costs to get to that point? I don't know. I've known some individuals personally. Let's just go personally. I've known some individuals personally that present that persona because they want individuals to buy their course and to buy the thing that they're offering and all of those things so that you can have that form of freedom. But it's not necessarily their reality. Because these same people are hustling day and night. I can get an email from them at 4:14 in the morning because they haven't gone to sleep, because they're up working and grinding. And so I feel like there's a big persona that's wrapped around it if it's necessary. Because if I'm selling the grind, I have to look like I've done it and I'm no longer have to do it. And you can have it too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like any other Ponzi scheme.
It looks like it's not sustainable. Like,
it isn't. That life isn't sustainable because I mean, at some point you're going to get caught. I mean, like someone's going to be able to say like, no, you're not actually on the beach. You know what I mean? All the time, or have me making all this money while you're sleeping and all of those things without always producing. I mean, I work an exorbitant amount of hours and there is a lot of things that I don't have to do any longer. But the amount of time that it takes to get to that point and to be able to, like I said, train that person to do that job, to say it like you would, to represent you whenever you're not watching, it takes a lot of time to do that. And it takes a lot of trust and it takes a lot of
you're also 15 plus years into the game too.
Right. And I've never worked on the beach. I don't know. I see the ads. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the cheat code because I don't know how to do it. How they do it, unless you're selling with tickets.
Or they trying to sell. If the money that they make is from the course that they're selling you. So that's how.
Yeah, seriously.
Exactly how it's happening. And if you really start following it, those are the only people that really talk about that. You know what I mean? Like you have to buy my course to have my life. You know what I mean? And it's not like you need to work as hard as me to be able to do this. Like you don't see the backside of it all the time, which is why I love talking about just the transparent part of entrepreneurship. It's not always.
It's not all wins. Is that what you said? It's not all wins?
Not all wins. Yeah. A lot of losses.
I have so many questions about that because you talked about the failure report as well, because that statement made me think about that. But I've asked many questions already. Somebody else want to?
We're in the Corona times, but so
twice now.
how has COVID kind of impacted your business and entrepreneurship, if at all?
Oh, yeah. So true story. In March of 2020, I was at this position. We'll probably talk on this, but I took a short hiatus from entrepreneurship and wanted to work for a nonprofit organization. And I stepped back into entrepreneurship and was building my business. Things were going well. We were onboarding, in the process of onboarding 4 new staff within the next probably about 30 days in that time frame between March and April. And Corona happens. And from the 13th of March to the 30th of March, we lost 100% of our clients.
Wow.
From California to Texas to Canada to Bermuda to London to Geneva, Switzerland. Every single one of them were making phone calls within that short time period.
Wow.
And I've gone through a recession before. I remember the first time we went through a recession in 2008 and I had a great government contract and everyone there was like, we're about to hit a recession. We're going to be furloughed. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is a furlough? And I remember being so naive to the fact that was happening, but there were warning signs. You know what I mean? There were people that were saying like, this is going to happen. I knew that we had just, elected a new president. I just felt like I was a little bit more prepared because I went abroad. You know what I mean? We opened offices in other countries. We were able to go somewhere else because it only affected the United States, but Corona affected everywhere.
Everybody.
So there was nowhere to run.
Right.
I was able to swiftly pivot and say, oh, well, I can call XYZ up in Sweden and we can and we'll be fine. And this hit different because there was nowhere to hide. There was absolutely nowhere and no way to fix it. And you didn't know when it was going to end. And so I held on to, especially my staff, as long as I could before having to furlough them because I simply didn't know what was going to happen. So I have to say that Corona and the virus, and that month was probably the darkest, I can almost say one of the darkest, because I've had plenty, darkest times in my entrepreneurial journey, because there was so much uncertainty and no one had the answer, and no one could counsel you or offer a suggestion of when it was going to be over. It just was going to play its course, and you didn't know what that was going to look like. So needless to say, we've come out of that. We've kind of rebound from that. But it's been definitely difficult. Definitely difficult.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you've gotten back to where you were? Or do you feel like you're still kind of trying to climb back to where you were?
No. We have completely just pivoted our model. At that time, we did have a lot of clients that we worked for, and we had a lot of internal projects that we were working on, but they probably got about 5% of our attention. So they would get the intern's attention. They would get my attention maybe for if that project was lucky, about 2 or 3 hours a week. And so we really decided that once we were able to just like shake it off and get ourselves together, we're to focus on our internal projects, because they had legs. We weren't dependent on other individuals. That it kind of was a shock in me, you know what I mean? Because when are they coming back? Are they coming back? My attorneys were all like, well, we can go after them because they're in a contract. And I'm like, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourselves? First of all, I don't have any money to pay you all. So probably this conversation, we probably wrap this conversation up real tightly soon. But so that was, my nature is not to ever pursue legal first. It's just never a thing that I was going to ever do. But the fact that some of them have rebounded, some of those clients are out of complete business today that have been family businesses, you know what I mean? So I don't know if anyone has completely rebound, in the same capacity. But for us, we've decided to provide marketing solutions for our internal companies and make that our primary focus. And so I never lost the multi-hyphenate identity, because we were like, all right, so now we're picking up these 4 different companies, allowing our marketing company to provide marketing services for them and to house them in separate entities. So we house 4 separate companies under our umbrella, and we only provide services for our internal companies.
You're talking about pivot.
Talking about pivot. I'm talking about the ambition. Talking about the failure report. So we have a lot of different things, and leading in color. So we have a lot of different projects that we house under that umbrella that we only work for now. And we love it.
Dion, as the one who assumes the risk, and you have employees under you, what did you say to them when COVID hit and clients started pulling out? Like, what was your message to them?
My message was, looking back on it, was a message of lies and hope at the same time. Lies because I truly believed that it was going to be okay. Hope was that I was telling the truth, but I didn't know that to be true. And I tried to say, I'm going to do whatever it takes to help you get unemployment. I'm going to do this. And as soon as we're finished, as soon as this is over, we're going to be right back to where we were. And that was not the case. You know what I mean? So not lies in the traditional, like, deceitful sense, but lies in the fact that my office building completely closed. The investors that owned our building were never able to rebound from that. They're a huge conglomerate here in Louisville. They never came back. Some of those individuals were, they became pregnant and they decided to pursue family relationships, and they never came back to traditional business. We never were able to get back to that same place. And so in between each phone call, of course, we're just breakdown in tears, like, because every conversation was different. Some people were upset. Some people were understanding. Some people were, just very passive, and you don't know how you're going to react during those times, so there's a lot of grace that was given to each of them, because every conversation was different. But on my stand, from where I was, every conversation for me ended in tears. I'm a crier, but it was trying to be like, just holding on, like, I'm sorry. What can I say? I'm sorry. What am I supposed to say? Can you give me my last check? I think so. And so personally, I wrote severance checks personally to each of those individuals to ensure that they had at least their very last. But it was, like I said, you couldn't pay me to write that story. Like, it would just be, it's a tragedy. you know, and no one ever saw that it was ever coming.
I think we were all using that language when this is over. Like when this is over, and not knowing.
Oh, this will only be for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then we're gonna be good. My son's daycare closed, and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna close for like 2 weeks, and then we'll be right back." And then, like 3 months later, it was like, "All right."
I mean, same for us when we started this. It was like, oh, it'll probably be like a couple months through the summer. No.
Yeah.
And so the uncertainty of it all is something that we all feel and we've all felt and we've all lived through. So we have this like collective sadness that we all experienced during that time. But the triumphant part is that we're all here. We're okay. You know, we've seen a lot of death. We've seen a lot of sadness, but we've all grown and we've learned something, and we all wash our hands now.
Yes, we do.
Hopefully for 20 seconds or more.
There's some people who are still resistant, but we're gonna keep on them.
Right, we sure are.
You had mentioned that when you were working at your peak or what have you, I don't know if that's the right word, but you were gone during the week, like all week, and then you'd be home on the weekends. And so I would imagine like with COVID, you couldn't do that anymore. So I'm wondering like how that impacted your home life, how that impacted your relationship, what that was like to have to slow down.
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm not a slow talker. I'm not a slow thinker. I'm not a slow mover. I'm accustomed to traveling a lot to see my clients and to do this and to build a new business. And it all came to a stop. And I just felt so unproductive. That's whenever you talk about like the mental health strain that it puts on you as a entrepreneur, you know what I mean? Of just saying, I'm clearly not doing enough because I didn't even work 20 hours today. You know what I mean? Like I slept 8 hours. Like what in the world? Like that's, you know what I mean? Like, so it was extremely taxing because everything in me, again, like to your point, Brandon, is like, since we're going to be back in a few weeks, I need to be hustling to do da. But then you call the company that you used to work for or all the headhunter that always is, and their phone's disconnected. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
Like, so it was crazy to have to just navigate that. But it was also because my husband and I got to work in the same house together. So he had one floor, I had the other. He's teaching a classroom of kids. You know, I'm trying to wrap my new business looks like. We took a lot of walks and we took a lot of just time together, and we sat and ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches outside. And, you know, I mean, we watched a lot of TV and it was great. I can honestly say for a relationship, for my marriage, and then for me personally, it was the break that I needed to really say, okay, God, now what are we going to do? You know what I mean? I say often how tragic the virus was, but how necessary it was for my own sanity, because I've taken a mental health break before. I alluded to that before. In 2014, when I moved here to Louisville, I walked away from a multi-$1,000 company, wasn't millions, never touched millions. But I mean, a very lucrative company, and I sold it for a single dollar to my business partner because I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I worked at a nonprofit organization, and I took about 120% pay decrease, and I sat at a desk and I ate tomato soup, and I was number 2 of a company, and I loved it. And I was still up to my same old tricks. I said I wasn't going to leave until I made them an X amount. I started there and they were a $4 million company. And I had been a $4 million nonprofit for 16 years. And I thought that was crazy. I was like, when are you going to scale? Like, how are you going to grow this? And I said I was not going to leave until I made them a $10 million company. Now that, again, here goes that cockiness. Like, I'm going to, why would you say that? And the board was like, okay. And it took me until 2017 to reach that promise, but I left them a $12 million company, and they're thriving and doing well today. But then I could get back to business and get back in the grind of it. You know what I mean? But again, I saw myself approaching a stop, and the virus is what I needed to just sit down and, you know, and just come in tune with what's important. It gave me the chance to remember what's important.
I've heard that from a lot of people. You know, we are not going to downgrade what COVID has done to a lot of people. People have lost lives. People have lost their livelihoods.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of hurt that has come from that. But there is a portion of the population, and I will include myself in that, that has been forced to stop. And so, coming from myself, it was nothing for me to work some days, 12, 14 hours. It was nothing. And then it went from that to sometimes only working like 6, and actually like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, I'm actually getting some rest in. Oh, okay. I'm actually kicking it with my kids for the first time. Like, oh,
Yeah.
so it was. I've definitely heard that from quite a few people.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And when I created the Ambition Planner, I had just started back into business, and we were really starting to scale after I left the nonprofit for that short period of time. And I was finding myself not being intentional anymore. I was starting to get back into those old habits. I was starting to be in a room and not being present. I was starting to look at people like, but I wasn't listening. I was finding myself getting back into my old habits. And so I created this daily planner to help me stay focused and grounded, because I am ADD. I am a person that is always, this is all self-diagnosed, right? But I'm always on the go, and I'm always thinking and planning and doing, and I got to make sure and do this. And I needed a space to keep that. And again, the pandemic was horrible, but it gave me the opportunity to grow something that I'm so passionate about today. And I would have never been able to get this product specifically where it is if it was not for this pandemic and for the time that it's offered.
Yes. I have my Ambition Planner. It is somewhere under my chair. I'm unorganized. I'm not organized.
That is not a Simone.
Yes, I have it. I do.
Fun. Yes. That was our first edition. Yes. And that planner completely sold. That first edition of our planner completely sold out.
Oh, really? I'm not surprised. And I do have some of the stickers. My child did not take all the stickers, but I love this planner. I love it. It's wonderful. I usually use the electronic, but I want to support. So I was like, let me get this planner, and it's wonderful.
And I will say, we mentioned the Ambition Planner.
Yes.
Before Simone got it and after she got it. And she would always reference it. She'd be like, it's around here somewhere. I know where it is. I have to go get it. And
it's under my chair.
Simone is not where the organization resides.
No, because I work from home, so all my stuff is under the chair somewhere.
Right? Out of the screenshot. Okay, that's all that matters.
Man, I want to go forward because I think this propels us into a great discussion about burnout. But I want to go back for just 1 minute. We talked about this in the production meeting before. We talk about this pause of COVID and like getting to spend more time with your husband and kind of relax. Where will you be like post COVID, and how was it before COVID? Because you talked some about being married to an entrepreneur, and like how does your husband, who's a teacher, how do you manage that?
Yeah, it's hard because he has such a structured time frame. He goes to work at a certain time, it ends at a certain time, and my days are not that way. I have meetings at night. I go to networking events this time. It may start, I may have to have him take me to the airport at 4 a.m. You know what I mean? And it really always, and it's always been with us, that when we are together, we plan our time together. And it sounds unfortunate to say we have to plan that and make intent, but it's being intentional.
I do though.
Yeah.
You have to. And so Thursday night, our date night, and Thursday nights are our time to just solely reconnect. So if we don't get to connect the way we would like to anytime throughout the week, that is our night. So it doesn't matter if I'm in Arizona Thursday morning. By Thursday evening, I best to find myself in the same time zone as my husband because that is our night together. And it is so fun because even if we get down to my clients would know that, like, I know you got to leave, don't you? You got to catch a flight, or it's your date night, because I talk about it so much so that other people can also hold me accountable too. And it's something that we've always just built into our life. But when I worked in DC, because of the time difference, I would always fly home. So I could leave Reagan at 5 and get to Huntsville, Alabama about 5:15, and be home and be that wife that I really wanted to be. I love to cook and I love to have a great home. And I wanted all of those things. And it was a decision that I had to make, that this is what I was going to do. Was I tired? Yes. Did it cause a lot of burnout? Absolutely. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Every single moment of it. I do it all over again.
Now, did he know that you were going to go into the line of work that you, like when you all were together and decided to get married, did he know what he was signing up for? Did you know what you were signing? Like, yeah, did he know that he was going to be with a multi-hyphenate person who was going to
No, he had no idea. Wasn't smart. He had absolutely no idea. Neither one of us knew who we were going to be when we got together. You know, I was 19. He lied and said he was 20 something, but he was 5 years older than me. Liar. And so neither one of us knew what we were gonna be when we grew up. And it was that we grew up together. You know what I mean? We started figuring it out together. We started saying like, well, I really want to do this. And he's like, well, I'm going to support you in that. But he always knew that I was a dreamer. And so he always knew that it was going to be greatness or bust. It was never going to be mediocrity. It was never going. So he's always known that of me, and he gives me the grace to just be who I am. I am just who I am. Today I have a blonde mohawk, and tomorrow I may be bald. And every day that I choose to be somebody else, he's okay with that. And that is a type of it. When I tell you God could have never given me a better husband, he knows the person that is going to complement you before you're born. I feel, because I could have never been with another person that would allow me to be who I am and be okay with it. Because I may wear a hat one day, I may wear jeans the next, I may wear gloves to church because I feel like it, and he just lets me be that, and he's okay with it. And the same thing in business. He knows that I have an eye for and a knack for things. He knows I got tongue tied. Other individuals depend on me for certain things, and he knows how important that is to me to make sure I fulfill my requirements to them. And because of that, he gives me that time. But it is hard. He's the one I'm intentional about. So when I'm in a meeting and I'm not listening, that's because you're not that important to me. but for him, he's the most important person to me. So he gets that time.
I love that.
No,
I have to go on about the burnout now.
Thank you. That's a great segue into burnout.
Yeah, because I heard you say you sold a multi-thousands company for $1. So that must have been,
you was burned.
Must have been some burning
going on in there.
Going on.
I was done. We had this was in 2014, so we were still managing our clients in Geneva and in Canada and in California and in all these time zones, and in Huntsville as well, as we were still doing government contracts there. And we had multiple RFPs out, and we were probably going to win them, and I didn't want to win them because I didn't want to do any more work. And I had 24 employees at the time, and we probably could have used 10 more, and I just couldn't do it. I was at complete capacity, and I literally couldn't think about anything else. In 14, I think I was still working for Congressman Parker Griffith, and I was still traveling and flying every day to DC and coming back and working from there and the conference that my husband works for called him and said, we have a job opportunity in Louisville, Kentucky, and we wanted to offer it to you. So he got the call while he was at work, and he came home that night, and I will never forget. And we were actually randomly talking about this today. He was like, we were sitting on our deck of our house in Huntsville, and he was like, hey, I got a call about moving to Louisville, and I don't know what he's, what do you do? Like when one of your spouses is getting an opportunity to move out of the city, initial reaction, like, I don't know what our reaction is supposed to be, but he was like, I don't know what we're going to do about this because you have a business here. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Great. I'm so glad we're moving and this is going to be so great. And he's looking like, okay, so you're just going to move and do, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, but I have to move pretty quickly because he got this call in May and he needed to start here in July. It was early July.
And has it really been 7 years that y'all done been here?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And I literally was like, well, that's what we're gonna do. It was never a flinch. It was like, say for instance, I was on a Friday, Monday, I went into office and told everybody I was gonna be moving and I was no longer gonna be the CEO of Joint Effort. And I talked to my business partner, Tracy, and she was looking like, was, what?
Right. What
And
do
she
you
kept being like, what? And she was crying and she was mad and then she was excited and she went through all the emotions in 30 seconds. And I just stood there and the numbness that I felt makes me, again, this is all self-diagnosed. I feel like something was terribly wrong mentally because it's not anything I would normally do, but I didn't have any reaction. I was just like, it wasn't even shrugging shoulders. It was just standing there. I just didn't have anything to say. I'm not doing this anymore. And here are my keys and here's my responsibilities and I'm not doing it anymore.
And that was just give me $1. Do you have $1?
Because legally the attorneys were like, well, you can't be a transaction like this without there being some form of paper trail. And I was like, well, how much does she need? He was like, well, it has to at least be in quantities of here's $1. There you go, cash money.
Wow.
And that is how I walked away from a life that I thought I wanted and that I loved and I nurtured and meant so much to me, but it meant so much to me for all the wrong reasons. And I was determined when I got back into business to do it differently. And I was definitely trying to ensure that I was doing that. I was definitely, I've always been a giver, very philanthropic, but especially with time and money. You know, I gave to interns, I gave to people, I gave for free, I gave people opportunities when they didn't deserve it. My heart goes to the homeless. That's one of my huge ministries. I was always going to do that. That was never it, but it was always a paper chase. And I am not a money person. Money doesn't mean much to me. I'm not. And I was acting like it did because the opportunities kept coming. And it just felt like I was fighting against me. And I didn't want to do it anymore. Because I was like, I don't really care about making any money, but money kept coming and I kept acting like I cared. And it was like, I don't, but okay, well then I'll take it. You know what I mean? And I just one day I just gave up. And it was a complete burnout. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I got to just start over. And got to press the reset. And I don't know a way out. I didn't know. And I didn't even know I wanted a way out until I had one. It was like the door opened and I was like, oh,
I'll take it.
Because before that day, y'all, I never even talked about quitting my job or walking away or being burnt out or anything. It was just that day on the porch. I was like, yeah, I love it.
So was it that you were just too busy? And you were just you were wearing too many hats and you think that's where the burnout came from? And
it was that. It was the fact that a lot of that was so much more important than anything, a lot of other things to me. You know, I joke and it's not funny, but I joke and say I forgot to have children. You know what I mean? Like we don't have children today because I chose to work instead. And I chose to be this entrepreneur as opposed to being a mother. And I would always be like, I would do this child the largest disservice. It would be horrible. I would be like, okay, fantastic, stay with your daddy and I'll be back. And that's how I saw it in my mind's eye. And I didn't want to, it was all of those things. You know what I mean? It was all of those things. And that was what I would say to myself. And that just didn't feel okay. And so it was time. It was time. And it was a God thing too. And so those things never make sense. You know, you always try to make it make sense.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't.
So when you broke, did you really break? Because I know sometimes people who are multi-hyphenate, they don't, like they might stop the big ball, but they keep juggling the smaller ones.
Yeah. It was juggling the small ones for a while because there was so much that depended on me because I was the face of it that made it really difficult for the staff and for my business partner at that time to really be able to manage it. And so my heart went out to that. And so many of the staff quit because I wasn't there. So that was hard. You know what I mean? It was, so I did juggle the little ball for maybe a year, short period of time before it was. Brandon, you didn't want us to see your pajama pants? Is that why
Brandon was in the dark. I was like, Brandon's about to fade out.
It got real dark all of a sudden outside, and I was like, wait a minute, I can barely see me. Let me go ahead.
You were fading to black a little bit. I did
fading over there, so let me get some light off in here.
In my head, Brandon, I was like, please turn your lights on. Turn your lights on.
Please, Brandon.
That is funny.
So funny. We have definitely, so something that you said, like you talked about, you were in a space of like money doesn't mean that much to you, but you were making it. And so you felt like you were having to act like it meant something to you. And so many times when we think about, or when we hear people talk about being entrepreneurs, it's because of the freedom. Well, first of all, it's that false narrative, I guess, of you can have all this freedom and not work that much and make all this money. Like, that's why you'd even do it in the first place. And so it's good to hear you say that and to hear that piece of it. But it also sounds like for you to have this, the show or I don't know what you call it, the episodes of the failure report, that would, it sounds like you value talking about failures and like being open about that. And so I'm wondering if that's the case and why you created that, the failure report.
Absolutely. The failure report, it was a thought that came to me as I was getting back into entrepreneurship, and I was really coming to myself. You know, I took this time away. I helped grow this nonprofit, and I was really in a place of just true honesty and true transparency with myself and with others. And when I was going back to, you know, the dog and pony show of going to networking events, hi, here's my card, what do you do? You know, I was just hearing myself tell people that everything was okay. You know, I'm starting a new business. I live in what felt like a new state because I had never done business for myself here. I literally went to that one space. I parked in the same parking space every day. I didn't get to know people. You know, I didn't do anything there. You know, I was just growing this nonprofit. I had a big task to do, and that's what I was commissioned to do. So when I got back out, it was like being in a brand new city where I didn't know anyone. So everyone's like, oh, so this is what you do? And it's been this many years. And I'm kind of like, yeah, but I took a break. But then I was back. But then and I just, one day, I don't know, the truth spilled out. And everyone was like, oh yeah, business is great. Landed this big contract and we're just doing da, da, da. And somebody asked me how business is going for me, and I was like, it's not going well at all. I was like, I'm not getting any clients. I was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just coming back into this, and it's coming harder now, and it just feels like I'm spinning my wheels for absolutely no gain. And everybody paused and looked at me like, yeah, you're right, business isn't good. And it was really like, I felt like I was in a sitcom because everyone literally felt like they were just getting undressed. Like, absolutely, you're absolutely right. Everyone took their mask off and were like, business really sucks. And this is my heart. This is what I'm going through. And we ended up talking at this one event for hours. We stood at this cocktail table and talked hours just about what is going on? What am I going to do here? And we worked out each other's problems, and we stay in touch to this day because we were just being transparent. And I looked at that situation and was like, I'm not alone. You know, even whenever I was doing well and before I took a break, there were so many bad days. There were so many failures. There were so many times that I couldn't go to a restaurant because I was Black. There were so many times that I was only asked to fulfill an RFP because I was a woman. There were so many times that I thought we were going to get this contract, so I hired these people and then didn't know how I was going to pay for them. There were so many times there was just bad times. And I never talked about those bad times. And it was time to talk about it. And so we started the failure report. And it was really for individuals to be transparent about how to be successful. You cannot be successful until you fail. There's only one way to success, but it's to go failures first, but you got to go through it. And I wanted to share stories of how individuals went through their hard times to make it to success. And that's how it was birthed. And our first 6 months of our podcast, we hit 10,000 downloads. And the 8th month, we hit 1,500, and it just kept growing. And it was great. It has been great to talk about, to see how willing people are to just be honest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot I think with the rise of social media, I think there's a lot of pressure for folks to portray success. And when you start looking at a lot of people, looking at the behind the scenes, they're not necessarily as successful. I mean, I think there were a couple of Instagram folks that got caught up and actually are in prison because, they were portraying how successful they were. They were on a private jet.
Remember the private jet? That's what came to mind instantly.
Yeah, so they're on a private jet. They're posing with these exotic cars, this, that, and the other. But it's because it was fraud and taking venture capitalist money and doing blah, blah, blah with it. And now they're in jail for XYZ types. And I think there's a lot of pressure now on people to be successful and all those things. And I don't think we hear about those failures very often, when in actuality, there's nothing wrong with failing at all.
No, there is nothing wrong with failing. And it's such a natural occurrence, and it happens to us all. But we don't ever, I use it as a cautionary tale. Do not take, I could be so much further in life if someone would have just told me the truth. I just wanted to know the truth.
Right.
Everything I know, I had to figure it out. And to have to figure it out is so much harder than somebody just telling you, don't turn left. If you turn left, he's going to lead to a dead end. Don't go that way. When you get to the stop sign, turn right. If somebody just told me that, I could have just
good to go.
Man. And so that is what I want to leave behind. That's a part of my legacy is if I could help you not make that wrong turn, I'm going to help you. And like I said, part of my mission is always going to be to give. And this is my way to give. And it's what I give freely. Is if I can tell you anything, Tiff and I had a conversation offline. I was like, don't do this, do that. But and I will always be that person. And so it always keeps me kind of toggled to former lives that I say I retired from, because I keep getting pulled back. But I mean it. I mean what I say is that I truly believe in helping others. And that's my way of helping.
And it's super helpful. Like, we're, fishing in the dark with some of the ventures that we've taken. So, it's good to reach back as somebody who already has successful, podcasts and has been out here and could tell us which way to move next and what to do. So, I just appreciate the time.
Absolutely.
You guys shouldn't charge me. I appreciate it.
Never.
I wanted to go back just a second, because you talked about like being a giver, and we talked at our production meeting about minorities in business, women in business, Black folks, Black women in business. And can you talk about how you try to, I don't know if you have a special passion in that direction, or like what that looks like for you, why that's important to you.
Absolutely. With the failure report, no, let me say this. With the Ambition Planner, my passion lies with women. And I have an amazing support staff of all women intentionally, because we sell to women and we speak their voice. We understand their issues in a very personal way, and how they want to be organized, they want to be present, they want to have the cute Instagram, they want to diet, they want to be able to have a swimsuit body, they want to be able to juice, they want to be able to have a great spiritual life, they want to be a great partner to their spouse, they want to be a great dog mom, they want to, and how do you do all of it in one day? There's only 24 hours. Right. We have a unique plight, and I feel like women get it better. Sorry, Brandon. And so, facts, man. And so I've just been very intentional about the individuals that we bring on in that space, because I want to give women the opportunity to work in a space where they're building that rapport, and that they're able to just be honest about the products and services that they need that are going to make them be great. And I've always been that way. I like to set people up for success, not the okie doke. And so if it is working with minority women, if it is working with solely Black women, if it's working with all Black males, in certain arenas, I just try to be intentional about what that looks like and how it will show up for the individuals that they serve. So when I worked in politics, I only hired exclusively Black men, exclusively. Sorry, sue me, whatever you got to do. I'm not hiring you because you're a white woman. And the reason is because we're never given a chance. You're never, this man's never going to get the opportunity to work underneath a strategist for a US congressman. And for that reason, I'm going to give him the opportunity over you. No, he has experience, but I'm going to give it to him. And I've lived and operated unapologetic about that. It has stepped on toes. It has made me an outcast. And again, the one that assumes the risk the fact that it may be a problem for some, but you just have to take that lump and not care. And it's bitten me in the butt, and it's won me great. It's brought me a lot of pride, but it's something I would never change.
As Simone was saying, I just want to piggyback off her question about being a Black woman in entrepreneurship, is that, are there many others that look like you in this game?
No. It's a very lonely space. Entrepreneurship, being a CEO is a lonely space, period. Because no one ever hangs out with their boss. You know what I mean? Like, you're not invited to the baby shower. You're not coming out for cocktails. Sorry, you're not invited to the derby party. Already lonely. Then whenever you layer the fact that you're a female on top of that, you know, you want to be with other individuals that you have a lot in common with. But and it just never,
You're back.
Okay? Are you okay?
We're good. We're good.
Yeah.
There's always a small tiff there that doesn't ever quite work out. So you end up being alone. And you find yourself being like, I'm okay with it. It's cool. It's cool. I don't want to, you know, I'm at the top. And then, but it is lonely. It's a lonely space. But there aren't a lot. And that is another part of why, there's another reason why I believe in internship program, is that I want to create my competition. I say that at their onboarding all the time. I'm creating my competition because whenever you leave this, I want you to know everything that I know. You work with me exclusively. You never work with my assistant. You don't work with an ad manager. You work with me. And you're going to know what I know because in 5 years and in 2 years, next month, when you leave this internship, I want to be like looking at you at the corner of my eye because you're trying to run me over or take my business because I want to make you that great. So for that reason, I feel like I will I shouldn't say, well, that's weird that came up.
Well,
for that reason, I'll always have. But God said, you will always have if you give. Yeah. For that reason, I will always have because I am never going to be shy about giving first. It's just hard to say that, right?
Now, Dion, this is not on the list, but I'm just curious. What is it like to work for you? What would your employees say that it's like to work for you?
Oh, I work with a lot of A-type personality individuals, a lot of creatives, and I am a complete squirrel. And so if anything, they're like, every day is going to be new. Every day I'm going to come in with like, actually, I thought we were going to do this, but we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to do this instead. And especially with this new life that we're in, where we're creating something that's not been done before. Before I was, you know, like I said, old life, I was walking in somebody else's shoes. I already had like a rubric that I was following. Like there's no one that's being a political strategist in a new way, you know what I mean? Or providing marketing solutions like we were doing in a completely, it was not new, you know what I mean? But what we're doing now with individuals, and I get mad at them if they're not on social media, that's always a problem. I'm like, why aren't you on your phone? Why aren't you on your Because that's where we live. That's where our home resides. They always know it's going to be a different day. And I also hope that they see that I lead with a lot of grace. You're going to learn. I'm learning. You're learning. We're all figuring this out together. And I'm gonna love on you just because that's just the type of person I am. Sagittarius. I lead with my heart first. And so if my heart tells me to do something, it doesn't have to be logical. You know, I was talking to a young lady the other day and she was like, it's either function or passion. And I'm like, screw function. It's passion first. Like, you don't ever follow the thing that makes logical sense. Do the thing that makes your heart feel good. And sometimes the things that make my heart feel good are not consistent every day. And so I'm sure it's difficult.
Okay.
But it's always going to be fun, for sure.
Well, I think that might be a good place for us to stop. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that was good. That's Go ahead, Simone.
The only last thing I want to ask is, or talk about real quick, is we have a question here about what advice would you give people who want to do what you do? But after that, then I'm good.
Yeah. I say do it. I wish I had a tattoo that said YOLO. Like, you really only get one chance to do this. I have so many friends of mine that I've buried or no longer here or are stuck in situations that they're not happy with. And you only get one chance. We're made of mud and clay and breath, and it's going to go away one day. And if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. And so do it. And if you fail, you'll be fine. It won't hurt forever. It doesn't hurt forever. It'll hurt, but it won't hurt forever. And so I always encourage people to do it. I think that there's never is a lie. You're never ready. That I don't understand when you're ready, you're ready. Ready is a lie. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready to get married. You're never been ready to have the second baby. You're never going to be ready to make the financial commitment to do. You're never ready to buy a house. You're never going to be ready to do anything. Ready's a lie. So just do it now. And that is the
ready is a lie.
I like that. That is so true. I have a very close person who I love dearly, and they want to leave their job, but they're like, I'm just not ready to step out. I'm like, but you've been doing the other thing for
so long.
Forever. Like,
forever.
What is ready?
Ready's a lie. It's a myth that holds us back. And our minds are created to protect us. You know what I mean? And so our mind wants us to keep us safe. And this is logical. And you're not ready because you need to have X, Y, and Z lined up. But X, Y, and Z is never going to line up, y'all. They never line up. They always are going to be like this. So it's just a lie. You have to jump when you have the opportunity. So my biggest advice is YOLO. You only get one.
Young folks said, why are you so loud right now?
Yeah. That's it. Why are you so loud?
Why are you so loud?
You only get one chance.
Wait, is that like a sling thing? Why are you so loud? What is
because you're talking to me right now. Like, why are you so loud?
See, I'm washed up. I don't know. I just learned what no cap meant. I didn't know what that.
So
we
excited.
all learned.
No, I knew.
But I didn't know, and I'm not ashamed.
You guys want to tell me what it means? Because I don't know what that means either. No cap.
It means like for real, right?
Yes, cap lie. Cap equals lie.
Oh yeah, lie. Yeah.
A cap equals lie.
Yeah. So if someone say no cap, it's like no lie, no lie.
Oh, okay. It's like the cap is off. Look.
I have no idea how it got there.
I don't know what the cap has to do with it.
No idea where the cap comes in.
You can call somebody a capper. You're a capper. You're capping.
I don't know.
You're a liar.
Know if you call him a capper, Simone.
Oh, well.
You're a capper. Hard R. Look at Brandon. It's like, no. I love it. No cap.
Simone, you should let me stop when I wanted to. Now this is
I'm sorry.
You guys, this has been great. I appreciate you guys taking the chance, the opportunity just to speak to your audience and to share these stories. I love it, and I love my journey. I wouldn't trade it for anything because I don't believe in mistakes. I believe in just destined life. You got to just live the life that God tells you to live. So he brought us here to this moment, and I'm just appreciative of that. So thank you for having me.
We thank you for the words of wisdom. When I say that, when I said that poll, like, why are you so loud? Because I am definitely in the process of making some moves. And, I'm just that whole Simone and Tiff know that I'm just like, well, maybe when, I don't know. And now it's just like, all right, B, you need to stop.
Just stop.
Just do it.
Just do it. Ready's a lie. You'll never be ready. So whenever your heart tells you to do it and the Holy Spirit tells you to do it, then do it.
Parting words. Love that.
Yes. Absolutely. And I'm just going to speak into existence that, Dion, we might have to have you on again because it was so many points that we didn't get them all.
I know.
I
know. So many
That's
questions.
funny. Absolutely. I would be honored to come back, y'all. You know what? I'm not from Alabama. I lived there for 20 years. I'm from Tampa, Florida. But when I say y'all, it hits different. I'm like, yeah, y'all. I lived there long enough.
You're a real Louisvillian now.
Yes.
Yep. Well, thank you again.
Absolutely.
All right, we are back. What a great conversation.
Great conversation, man.
Yeah.
Dion's that deal. She's an entrepreneur's entrepreneur.
Yes. Absolutely.
We're hoping that our boy Brandon will look down at his shirt and realize that his future is so bright if you just
it's so bright. YOLO.
Take the leap, man.
Why are you so loud?
Listen, she kept saying that. I was like, stop talking to me. Stop.
So funny.
Your future's bright, friend.
Jump. So it looks like we have the All-American recap next.
Love, live.
I'm still done with Liv. I'm still mad at her. I need a sincere apology about putting Spencer's life in danger. I need more. Because that was huge.
I told you Spencer had already, he gonna be like, oh, you were sick. It's okay.
That's what his mama said. His mama told him to sit his behind. She didn't say his black behind, but she wanted to.
That's what I heard.
Sit your behind down.
Black behind down somewhere. Get some business about yourself. That's what I heard.
Get some business about yourself. I love that phrase.
Well, you know what? I have mixed feelings about Olivia and what she did in the last few minutes of the episode. I understand, but somebody gonna be in trouble.
Somebody gonna be in trouble.
Yeah.
That was wrong.
That was wrong.
Absolutely wrong. 100%.
Definitely wrong. Can't do that.
Her mama
Do you like
password?
Do you like where you live? Do you like the things that you have?
Because Billy Baker's salary ain't cutting it. Let me
That
tell
ain't
you.
cutting it. It's that DA salary.
Coach Baker's salary.
No.
Nope.
That is not where the money resides.
Nah, he got a little football area named after him, and that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like where you live, then you would have thought twice.
Especially because this season, didn't he donate his salary back to the football
Yes,
program?
he did. Yes, he did.
Yes.
So he had no money.
Broke. No money.
See, her brain is not fully functioning.
No.
What is wrong with you?
She didn't think that all the way through.
No.
And I'm gonna need her mama to have a better password.
Yeah. Thank you. A stronger password. They didn't take notes. She tried like one time. She was like, "Oh." I was like, I'm in there. You got them kind of secrets on your laptop. You're gonna need some asterisks, some dots, something, hyphens. Put all those things in your password.
I can't believe it. So that I did not, as I told you, I wasn't crazy about the episode, but that was a big deal for sure. But the rest of it.
Mom, you downplayed the episode for real.
I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, you downplayed the episode.
I was screaming the last 5 minutes.
Yes. I was like, Simone, what?
But the rest of it, 95% episode was kind of blah.
Okay, it was chill.
Yeah.
Chill, I'll give you that.
They gave you bangers right after they came back from their break. They went bam,
I know.
bam.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. So we'll see. I feel like there's a break. I feel like it doesn't come on Monday. Is that right?
Say that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Don't say that.
We'll have to check, but yeah.
Check. Yeah.
I'm here for this annulment. I need that to go down.
Why?
But wait, why is Jordan laid up and his wife? Where's Simone? Oh,
she's on punishment.
She's not here.
In a monastery or something.
Your wife is not there.
Your wife on punishment. She's grounded. But
right.
You know what? I don't mind seeing Jordan Baker laid up. I'll watch him laid up on the couch.
Me either. He has the scruffy
hair. His little scruffy face.
I burn for Jordan Baker.
Sorry,
I still burn.
Sorry.
We burn for 2 men tonight. Michael B. Jordan and Jordan Baker.
Yes.
Anyway.
Don't worry, Brandon. Lauren London's in that movie, so
Oh,
is she?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Whatever.
He said definitely watching.
Definitely watching it tonight.
Oh man. Okay, we want to do gratitude.
Yes.
Okay.
What y'all thankful for?
I'm thankful for this beautiful weather, man. We've had a great couple of days here in Louisville. It's been, today, you could not have asked for a better day weather-wise. The humidity was low. The sun was high. There were no clouds. It was just a beautiful day. It was one of those days where you like, I'm a little bit tired and I don't want to be outside, but it's too nice to be inside.
Yeah.
So I'm so thankful. We had this today. I want to say the last couple days, the last half of this week has just been really, really nice. I think the first part of the week was really nice. The middle was a little rainy, and then the end of this week has just been really, really good. So
a little rainy, bro. I saw Noah in the ark.
Okay, so it was a lot of rain.
It was a lot of rain. I'm grateful for the free advice. I said it in the episode earlier, but it's great talking to Dion, who it's more reasonable because she's in our age range. So it's not somebody who's like in their 50s and their 60s, already done this, guys. She's still actively in it. So I appreciate her insight and her, again, the free advice. Because even just outside of this, I have lots of questions about marketing things and communicating things. And she was like more than willing to help. And I think we need more of that. Other of our sister and brethren, like, continue to just lift each other up, as she spoke about in her time with us today.
Mm-hmm. I'm thankful for a couple of things. I'm really thankful for the conversation about normalizing and not like vilifying failures, because I think we live in a society where we want to hide the things that didn't go well, but those are the things that we learned from. And I think that's just valuable to hear. And as I'm, have younger people watching me and have a, child I'm raising, I want to be able to talk about that. Like, you don't have to be perfect. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, I'm not going for perfection. Neither, you don't have to either. I think I also say I'm very thankful for the weather too. I know North Carolina, like the heat feels different. And it's not that kind of heat just yet. So like the stuff we did today in about a month, we might not be able to do that at 2 or 3 o'clock.
It's not the hot heat, huh?
It's not the kind of heat you get out in. So I'm thankful for getting outside and being active, because it really does help my mental health. So, just thankful for that.
I went outside today, guys. I walked from the house to the car and the car to the house.
No.
I went outside. Doesn't count?
No.
Okay.
No, it doesn't.
I tried it real hard. Well, we want to thank you guys for spending time with us this evening. We hope we have been where the time resides. I don't know what time we started, but
don't remember either.
We're ending fairly early for us, okay?
Yeah,
it's early for us. I don't know about for y'all, but we're ending on time. So until we come back together again, just want to remind you all to wash your hands in these corona times.
Wear your mask, even if you're vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's stay safe. Let's continue to protect ourselves and each other in these corona times. Yeah.
Yes.
As always, we want justice for Breonna Taylor. I saw a wonderful plane that flew over the Derby that said "Protect Black women," and divested the police. I loved it.
Nice.
Until next time, everybody.
We remain yours.
Remain yours.
Simone forgot. Lo siento tú. Is that what she's about to say?
I don't even know. I'm gonna ask my mama. I don't even know.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, y'all.